Hello everyone, welcome to this video tutorial where we'll learn the nesting of loops. So like the if-else statements where we have learned how we can use the if-else statement in a nesting approach, similarly we can use the loops in a nested pattern. So what does it mean is nesting loop means is a loop within a loop. So let's take a look at the example. So here I am initializing three variables. One is row, column, and then sum. And then basically what we are doing is we are writing two for loops. So this is our first for loop and this is our second for loop. So this for loop is within the parent for loop. So that is why this is called the nested for loop. So this is the outer loop and this is the inner loop. So what we are doing here is, so the first loop continues from row 1 to 3 and the second one continues from column 1 to column is less than equal to 3. So what this program will do is, so when the row value and the column value, so when the row is 1, it will come inside this for loop and again it will continue this loop for the column is equal to 1. So column is equal to 1 to 3, it will continue this loop, and then again once this loop ends, this particular for loop will get executed again for the row is equal to 2. So when the row is equal to 2, again your column is executed from 1 to 3. So this particular for loop is again executed from 1 to 3 and it goes back here when the row is equal to then 3. Again your column, this particular for loop, inner loop, get executed. So this particular for loop get executed 3 times because the condition makes that this particular for loop get executed 3 times. So what is happening over here is, so as this particular statement actually get executed 3 times because this particular for loop get executed 3 times, but since the outer loop is also get executed 3 times, so what does it means is this particular statements get executed 3 into 3, that is 9 times. Okay, so let's take a look at the this program. Let's run it and then we'll explain a little bit about this program. So as you can see here, okay, so when your row was 1 and then column was 1, the sum will be 2, row plus column, that's fine. So again row is 1, keeping the row as 1, your column loop, that is the inner loop, which is line number 10, is getting executed again. So now your column is incremented to 2, so that is why your sum is 3. So keeping row as 1 again, column is 3 and sum is 4. And at this point, your column is 4, it will be incremented to 4 and that is why it is false. So it will come out of the inner loop. So it will go back to the outer loop again and it will increment the row value to 2. So and then you see the column is 1 to 3 for this particular 3 statements. So similar to row was 1 and your inner loop got executed 3 times. So when your row is 2, your inner loop got executed 3 times, and again when your row was 3, your inner loop got executed 3 times. So that is why it executed 9 times. This particular printf statement got executed 9 times. Okay, so this is the basic nature of the nested for loop, so that your inner loop get executed as many times as the outer loop get executed, and the loop body, the inner loop body, get executed as many times the inner loop get executed. So basically it's nothing but that number of times of outer loop into number of times of inner loop. So this is the basic example of a nested for loop. We'll see the nested for loop more into our pattern programming, but for time being we just have learned little bit about the nested for loop or nested loop. So as you can see here, you can write a for loop inside a while loop, also vice versa, like you can write a while loop inside a for loop or a while inside a while, and this one is for inside a for. So there is no limit. Basically any loop that you can write within another loop. Thank you for watching this video tutorial.